Welcome back, everybody. Automotive Inc. Today we're working on a 2015 Kia Sorento. The sister car is the Santa Fe. And what this complaint is kind of a humming sound coming from the rear end. Now, as you get a little bit faster and depending on the road surface, the sound just kind of sounds like a drone, if you will, like vroom, vroom. So we had the tires swapped out for new tires. That didn't correct it. And just as a little side note, most of these vehicles have a hitch on them. Well, this specific person had towed a jet ski and launched the jet ski with this in the water. So just because they say you can tow with it, you have to keep in mind that anytime you submerge anything in water, it's not always good. These typical automotive things are not necessarily greased or packed with marine grade grease. And over time, the more times you do it, water is going to get anywhere. So the next thing to check, because it's less expensive, now keeping in mind at the dealer, this job is about $1,800. For Kia, it might be a little cheaper at some smaller shops. And I'm going to show you how to do it for about 80 bucks. So before you go in and do anything else and take it to the dealer and they say you need this and that and this, it's worth a shot to try. So if you don't mind, smash the subscribe button, helps a small channel out, thumbs up, notification bell. I will link the parts down below. We have a couple other things we're going to do on this car. So if you have a Santa Fe or Kia, I think the 13 through 16 or 17 and a half is basically the same. And so you can give this a shot with just a few bits of small hand tools. So thank you guys for being here. Let's get to it. So as we're looking at the wheel here, this is your disc brake right here. Now, I'm not a big fan of slotted and drilled rotors on anything that's not a huge expensive performance thing or performance car, but they got them on here. So we're going to deal with that. We'll check brake pads while we're in here. But first things first, get your tire off, jack it up, put a block under the wheel, and then make sure your emergency brake is released, because if it's working well or at all, it will hinder this progress. So behind here, you don't need to bore you with that, but just use your stock jack. There is your jack point in those grooves. Get your wheel off the ground. You're going to need a 14 millimeter socket. Not necessarily a deep well, but deep well is going to be advantageous during this install. So there is a upper bolt here, right here. There is a lower bolt right here that we got to take off with the 14 mil. So we're going to take that off. And guys, if you go to the dry cleaners and they give you metal hangers and you don't get charged for keep one in your garage. That gauge of wire is usually pretty heavy duty, and it's going to pay off in the long run on hanging brake calipers and stuff up. You can buy a specific tool. You can use a bungee strap. I like this because there's no give and it works really well. So I'm going to grab my hanger and take this brake caliper off. All right, so you can see I got my little coat hanger here. It hangs in the hole, hangs in here. Do not let your calipers hang on the brake lines, especially if they're older. They will most likely split. Now, for the Kia and Hyundai, we have two Phillips head screws that hold the actual brake rotor onto the actual hub assembly. So we're going to grab a Phillips head and take that off. All right, guys, so when you're doing shit like this, I want you guys to pay attention to the things that may not make a lot of sense. So we made sure the parking brake was released. And what I noticed was I already did the hub on the other side. Once the parking brake was released, it sprung right up, right? And I was able to spin the wheel freely. Now on this side, what I noticed was, and if we look at the other hub, it looks much rougher than this one, is once I got the wheel off, the brake rotor, once I removed the screws, would not slide off. It wouldn't even turn. I couldn't even turn the wheel with the rotor. So this emergency brake mechanism may be in the stuck-on position, creating the hum. Now, because we already have the hub and we've already replaced one, we're going to replace the hubs. But literally, I had to sit here and work this bad boy off to try and get it done. So we need to establish why this emergency brake was still pushing on this drum with it off. Now, we may have a stuck mechanism. We may have something gunked up in here that got wet and rusted. I don't know yet. So we'll try and diagnose that, and I'll come back and tell you what that's about. All right. So what we found is this parking brake was actually out of adjustment. It was wound too tight. Now, how long that's been going on, that could be a cause of vibration, obviously, because it's going to create heat. And I would suggest that this hub probably has a lot more heat going on in it. because it's a lot darker versus rusty. So what we did is we went ahead and adjusted the tumbler. For that, you're going to need a specialty brake tool. But unless you get there and that your emergency brake is off and your hub is still moving, now I backed it off, set the park brake, it holds the drum. So could be one and the same. But if you didn't have a recent brake job and nobody's ever messed with it, set from the factory, you're very seldom going to go through a set of parking brake pads. Honestly, guys, you're just not. So I'll link one of these bad boys down below. You can do it with a flat blade screwdriver, but the angle and stuff is set up just right for a brake tool. And the tumbler is right down here. This was backed out almost a 1/4 inch and almost all the way back in. The park brake still works. So there's no access panel on the back. So this is probably something, again, from the factory. I don't know if somebody was in here thinking that the park brake wasn't working good. Really, they don't want you jacking with this because there's an adjuster underneath the frame. So now we got the thing off, the brake rotor. We got everything ready to go here. You can clean these pads if you want. Again, I did spray some dry silicone in here. That'll burn off. But if you're going to use some type of greasy thing, then you may need to adjust that. So next thing you know, we need to take off this bad boy. So you're going to need probably a large socket wrench or an impact gun. And that bad boy is 1.25 inch socket. So we're going to take that bad boy off. The specs to torque that back on are 179 to 199 for all-wheel drive models. Comparable also for the front-wheel drive version. So let's take this bad boy off. All right, so we got that bad boy off. Again, all of these tools and the parts are going to be cheaper than what the dealer is going to quote you. Now, on the back side of this hub assembly, we have 4 14 mils, and we're going to take those out. It's hard to get in the camera angle back there, but you can finger it. You're going to need a deep well for that and several extensions. So now we're going to get the 4 bolts removed. Now, to save yourself a little bit of trouble, once you get the bolts backed off enough, you can leave them in the hole, guys. You don't need to pull it out. You'll be able to see that this bad boy is wobbling. Now, there's splines in here holding the hub on itself. You can count the threads. We had 3 threads, and we can see that there's plenty of rust here to suggest that's where the nut stopped on the last one. Now, each hub and manufacturer of the hub, when you sink it back on and get it torqued down, it may show more threads. So don't get too worried about that, but that's a good reference to keep. Now from here, guys, you're going to need a gear puller set. And you're probably thinking, shit, now I got to buy a gear puller set? Dudes, it's like 13 bucks at Harbor Freight. I'll link one down below. You can get on the Zahn. So by the time you even order the hubs and all the pieces, which will pay off later having those in your garage, because once you figure out you can do a lot of this stuff yourself, you're going to be like, damn, I can save all this money. You can buy the tools, and then your kids later will be like, Dad, how come you have so many freaking tools? Well, that's the reason why. So let's get the gear puller, and we're on here. We're going to take it down and pop it off the splines, and the hub will come off. So this is what the gear puller is going to look like on there, guys. I like to let gravity do a little help for me, so I'll get it sized up on the outside, and then all you're going to do is just tighten this down. Now, I'm not saying you can't get this hub off without this. All I am going to say is it's a B if it doesn't, and you're already in here and you're trying to get it done on a Saturday. Just get the tools. If it comes off easy, that'd be a first, but cool. But if not, this is, like I said, like a $10 thing on Amazon. Yank it off. So we're going to sit here and torque it down. I already kind of loosened it, and you can see it's pulling away from the hub right there, or the spline. And we're going to get this pulled off. All right, so now we got it off, guys. You can kind of see this is all going to hang here. Now, when I spin this against itself, I can feel a little bit of grind in there. So whether it was this emergency brake that somebody adjusted wrong, or it was hanging up, I don't really know. We've checked it, we've applied it, we've taken it back off. So we know this is now not going to be the culprit. This hub here, and the other one actually had a little bit more like grinding feel in it when you held it in your hands. Now, there's no specific way. You can see the holes are equal distance from each other. We can see we have a lot of rust in here, which is normal, but the other one actually had some cracking on the outside of this bearing seal. And again, this is at least worth a shot before it becomes something else. Or if you take it to the dealer, you say, well, it's already had new hubs. It's already had the brakes adjusted. It could be in the drive shaft. But I'm guessing, just guessing, that it's either going to be 100% these hubs, or it was this one brake hanging up, creating an imbalance in the rotor. And this side right here, we can see we have more heat. It's dark brown. And the other side is very shiny. And this feels glazed to me. So we're going to try and clean this up from the brake pads. But now we're going to go over and get the new hub. Here's our new hub assembly. If we flip it over, if you're going to flip it over, want to check it, which I encourage you to do, set it down gently because those are your wheel studs. We're going to give a quick little look here. Obviously, we can see everything is identical. If you have a small caliper checking tool, if you want an exact measurement, you're more than welcome to do that. But again, this set, now when we turn this new one, we have no sound. It's smooth. There's no play. And again, heat is a destroyer of everything. So is water. So we're going to just swap these out, even though this may have been the damn culprit. I don't give a shit because we already had to get in here to get to this anyhow. So you can see we left our bolts that are a pain in the ass to get to already in there. So now we're just going to slide this onto the spline and tighten it down. Now, one thing I'm going to encourage you to do is get all 4 of your bolts fed through and get them all started and tight as you can with your finger before you tighten any of them down. Reason being is because if you misalign one hole a smidge, you're going to have to loosen them all up anyway. So if you can just put your socket on the back here, find the freaking hole, and you can finger tighten them, you can see them. We don't have a lot of corrosion in there to really bind up the threads. So, I mean, really, you could damn near get these all the way tight and then just give them the last little twist with your socket. So I get all of them basically started and turned in as far as I can with the socket wrench so we know everything's lined up. So let's get this tightened up. All right, so just get those bad boys tight as hell. You won't be able to snap them off. We're going to spin the axle nut back on. If you feel like you want to lubricate that a smidge with some silicone, you can. Stay away from WD-40 and anything that's going to leave a greasy residue that can later spin off into the brakes. So now we're going to get our torque wrench out and get this bad boy torqued down. All right, so from here, guys, you're going to find out that once you get close to torquing, this bad boy is going to spin. Like I said, we had about 3.5 inches of, or 3.5 threads here. Again, this holds it onto the spindle. It's tapered on the inside, so as long as you can't over torque this to snap it, it still has to be tight. So this is where we're going to use a little cheat code here. So we got our disc rotor cleaned up, so now we're going to slide this on. And here, real quick, I want to show you before we do it. So the parking brake is not set, guys, and this is spinning. That's the heat shield behind it that we can hear just a smidge. That's a little bit normal here. So we're going to get this on. But you can see that it basically spins with just a little bit of tension from the axle. Now to get this torqued all the way, let's go set the park brake because that should set this. Now this bad boy should not move. The other side did move, so our humming may have been coming from here. And then we can see that when we have our put our rotor back on, these holes have to match up with the Phillips head screws. So we'll take that off. I'm just using it right now to hold this so I can torque this down because it's going to hold the axle solid. All right, went and set the park brake, and now we're solid. So we are good there. So now we're going to get our torque wrench out. Again, it's 179, 200 pounds of torque, and yes, you can still do this job buying yourself a torque wrench. And from there, guys, we are done. We got it torqued. We can see we have a few more threads. Interesting enough, both the last hubs that were on here, they both had 3.5 rusty threads showing, and this one ended up having about 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 threads showing by the time we got it torqued. So completely normal, but they both match on both sides. We got our Phillips heads back in here, and now all you got to do is reverse the steps. We're going to put our brake caliper back on, get the bolts hella tight. Remember to pull out your little hanger here. Put your tire on, and gangster money. Now, I will come back here in just a little bit. Again, everything will be linked down below that you need to do to complete this job, Hyundai and or Kia. And a lot of these hubs, believe it or not, are almost the same, even on like the Optima and stuff. So, smart of them, cut back costs by making it all work for the same price. But we're going to get all this mounted up, and I'm going to come back and show you if this fixed our hum.